The fact that you flew out here is incredible.
Appreciate
to be
it.
on this podcast.
You almost died to
not,
get here.
and not Will's
I
podcast.
did almost die to get here.
What happened with that story, real quick?
We ended the podcast.
Nah.
Go ahead.
The podcast goes until we die. But,
Okay. No, so first off, anybody that like believe in science, I think is annoying. I do. When they're like, "What's your science?" Like, if a girl,
Facts.
If a girl,
oh, you said science.
I thought
I thought you said science.
Oh yeah,
What you think he said?
I thought he said that as well.
Oh, okay.
Science, and then I realized what he was saying.
Yeah. So I don't think that person is annoying. I mean, you believe in what you believe in, so let me not try to make fun of that. But I do think when a girl's asked me what my sign is, I'm like, we ain't gonna be together. You know, that's what I think. So that's the same thing with this eclipse. People are like, don't do anything big moves during the eclipse. And I remember he texted me. He's like, when you gonna come on the pod? And I bought a ticket right then because I was like, oh snap, I got a day free. So I just bought a ticket and I was like, I'm gonna go fly. And, do his.
That's a real one, y'all. That's a real one.
Do his podcast and so I'm on the plane and the eclipse is happening. So everybody got their phone out. They're recording. They just recording and I can't even get over there. Even like the flight attendant, her booty all on people's face. And I'm like, man, I wish I was in that seat. But so I was recording. I was recording everybody doing that. And then I was like, all right, cool. And I'm going to go to sleep. And so I'm going to sleep. And when I went to sleep, I think the pilot was like, I'm going to do the same thing. That's what it felt like.
That's a good
It felt
idea.
like, he was like, you know what? I'm tired too, even though I'm flying the plane. And so it was just like a bunch of turbulence. I remember him saying 35 minutes till landing. So I'm like, oh, we're here. 35 minutes? That means you're coming down. That means you're right there. Right? So 35 minutes till, so I'm sleeping and it's like turbulence. And then I wake up and there's the flight attendant. And she's kind of like, she's trying not to panic, but I'm looking at her. She's like, all right, we're doing an emergency landing. You're in the emergency exit row. So, we're going to have, and I was like, whoa, we're doing emergency exit. Yeah, there's mechanic, complications. And then I was like, what? And then you got people freaking out, right? People freaking out. And she's like, all right, so you're in emergency exit row. And she's explaining to me, so the handle's right there. You got to pull it off. And I'm like, the lever come off? Like, what?
You weren't listening the first
I wasn't
time.
listening to anything. When she was explaining that, I was like, oh, I've been on planes every weekend and I've never actually listened, to what they're saying. Because everybody knows it's just for leg room. So I'm like trying to process everything. And she's like, you ready to do all? I was like, yeah. And then she's like, all right. So she's telling me more. And she's like, yeah, so you got to get off last. And right then I was like, oh, I'm a bad person. I was like, I'm a bad person. Because outside I was like, yeah, I'll get off last. But of course I'm not getting off last. I don't know these people. You want me to kill myself so one of these people can live? There was no babies on board. We're all grown men and women that made decisions. Y'all idiots decided not to sit in the exit row. So I was like, I'm going to save myself. And so I remember thinking that, and I was like, okay. Well, and people were crying back. They were freaking. I was like, oh, are you kidding me? Some girl was slapping her leg. I don't know. She was just trying to and then the girl next to her was trying to calm her down. And then I was like, these people are tripping. Like, we're going to die. We're not going to die. I'm not going to cry, because whatever. But then it started like, whoa, 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 whoa. In the middle of doing that, some lady was like, I need to use the restroom. She gets up. The plane is whoa, 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 whoa. And then the flight attendant, she's trying not to freak out because she wants to be calm. But the lady went to she's like, go back in the car. To the rest, go to your seat. We need everybody sitting. But she's trying to be calm. But she's clearly yelling. And I'm like, all right, bruh. And so it's the way it's moving. I'm like, oh, we're going to die. This is a mechanical issue. That's probably something that's not something they can control. So I was like, let me just text my mom just in case. So I texted my mom. I was like, hey, mom, I'll be fine. But the plane is acting crazy, and we're going for an emergency landing. And I was like, oh, snap. Am I crying? And I just started crying, bro. I was crying, but it was people behind me, so I was like trying to act like I ain't crying and stuff. I'm like looking, because there's no seat next to me. There's no one sitting next to me. I'm just like trying to wipe my tears. But it was coming down, bro. And then we get down. I mean, we have a landing, right? We land, and the pilot gets on. He's like, yeah. So what happened was there was something about the steering wheel didn't work. Like the steering, something steering didn't work. So whatever, I don't know what it was called, but whatever it was, when we landed, we couldn't move. They had to tow. They had to take a truck and tow the plane to the gate or whatever. But I remember us landing on like an airport, and I was like, bruh, that's a regular land. Like, I just cried for where the grass at. I thought we gonna land some grass. You tell me it's a Mercy landing. This a wreck. If you didn't say anything, I'd have been like, oh, it's a little bumpy up there. And if they didn't say anything, why would you tell me? But they were just saying like just in case or whatever. But I just remember that's what happened. That's what happened. So I missed my flight because whatever the plane was jacked up. But I was like, I'm okay with that. I don't care about missing flights.
Glad to be alive.
Yeah.
So you got on another plane.
No, but I got on another plane.
That's true courage right there.
But I remember thinking like, I remember that in that moment, I wasn't thinking about, oh man, my shows this weekend. Or like, man, I want to perform. I immediately, all I thought was about family, my friends. All I thought was about that. I was like, man, I wish I spent more time with my friends and family. And I thought that, but I thought that was pretty cool. Put things into perspective. And then, you know how like you pray to God, you would play, God, I'll go to church every day. And then he let you do it. And you be like, I'm lying. Like, you knew I was lying. Why you let me do this? I'm not doing it. I'm not going to church. So that's what it felt like. I was like, my family's important. And where the weed at? I'm trying to. But that's what happened. That's what happened. That's why I missed mine.
Hey, man, clap it up for the pilot that got it.
Oh, yeah.
Clap it up for surviving.
Yeah, man. I love surviving.